went to their one and got home at
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carried.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Wait.
Oh, sorry.
I second.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Here you go, Kevin, that's mine.
I'll second the motion on the minutes.
He did, he already got you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, John's faster there today.
All in favor, say
Oh,
aye.
Aye.
Whoops.
Who was my motion?
Me?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved. Communications?
I had decap board yesterday morning and it was fairly uneventful, so that's what I had for the week. Oh, I met with, went out to the lake and met with them. We had to get a new furnace, so we tried to get bids. We had Bellins, Shaw, and one other one. Then we wanted to get Hardens they wouldn't get us the bids, and the furnace was not working. So I said, you just go with Bellins. It was the lowest bid anyway. So I got it installed already. This house was 60 degrees during that whole snap. So I said, yeah, probably time to get a new one put in before it completely goes out.
Yeah.
Did you have some electric to help?
What's that?
You know what?
Do you have
Not a
some
ton, though.
electric
Okay,
meters
you
to
want
help?
to go last?
I don't think so.
Not too much. I had economic development on Wednesday. They did decide to put out like a 10,000, it's with the interest that they're making on the CDs. They're taking that money and putting it into a sign or facade grant, like $10,000 of it. And once that rolls out, I'll send it to you guys, but basically it mimics the city of Marico's current facade grant. So it's a 50% match. Like not that I would, but if I wanted to update my storefront to look nicer or paint it or whatever, you can match for 50% of the funds. So, they did do that. And then, we want to do the ribbon cutting for your, opening. So that was also discussed. Other than that, it was all kind of basic stuff. And then I just had the Farm Bureau meeting yesterday. Chris and Seth both listened in on the Zoom part of it. Long story short, our numbers match their numbers for this year. And I could pass this around, ended up matching what we have. And the guy that makes these for every county, was there. And I asked him, because he was even saying all along to the Russell guy that used to be the regional, that the reason why we were sitting so high for a while there was because of the ARPA funds, but apparently it just wasn't resonating. And I said that the last 3 years, but so very long story short, I think it's been a communication error, and I hope that now our local chapter understands that we're not sitting on a huge amount of money, but
Yeah, if they can find it, let us know.
I pass that. So that went well.
Good.
Do you have anything to add?
No, I just from listening, I thought he was very, very on board with our numbers being relative to other counties being very similar. Did you grab that too, Seth?
I think so, yeah. I mean,
So we're not an outlier.
yeah.
If we were an outlier, I'd be concerned about it,
But that John and the guy that runs the number, they're both gonna be at the meeting, the local meeting, just to make sure that it's clear, like.
That's what it counts.
I can get a copy of that. back.
I can copy it for you. I won't be able to go to that meeting. I know Chris
but I
can't.
can't either, so. John?
I'm planning on going that way.
It won't be, I don't think it'll be bad. So
Depends on what my face looks like. When is it?
I think the third.
Third.
February.
Yeah,
I believe it's.
two Tuesdays from now.
I think they even feed you.
What's
I
that?
think they even feed you.
I could probably go as long as Seth protects me from
But the reality is, I mean, this other guy's gonna be there, and they said they're gonna help guide the discussion and make sure that it's clear.
Bridge again.
And all you guys need to bring with you is an ending fund balance worksheet from whatever, any of the ones that we've been getting, and you can see what's exactly in each fund.
You could probably highlight what they can highlight a orange picture.
And I've done that every year, but
I know.
it just
I know,
doesn't,
I
but I'm
know.
hoping this year, if you guys deliver the message, they will receive it. But, and I can just make copies for this for you too, of mine highlighted and with notes. But that way you can just see what's on there. But I'll make a copy of this for you.
Seth, you wanna be the spokesperson?
Sure.
I think we would probably, well, we can't sit down with you together, can we?
After the meeting, you can't you?
You didn't make any decisions.
We're just.
I just thought maybe it'd probably be good for Seth and I for you to go through that with us.
I wouldn't know why not, cause that day that you guys, I remember I sat down with you guys and gave you a rundown of all the funds, the county attorney said that was fine. Cause we're just
Like, you're not
Yeah,
making- you're not making a-
educating, not deliberating. Yeah,
You're not making a decision.
this would be fine. Yeah, I can do that. I'm good.
I don't remember what day it was, I think Monday, but I had that early childhood meeting. It was pretty simple, they had to seat all the new people. And then they are looking for a faith representative from Iowa County. Which
Oh,
is,
Bethany's done?
yeah, she wanted to be home or something, but, so like, if you guys know anybody.
Who was it? What was it for?
But it's a faith representative, and I asked what it was, and like, it's just a pastor or a youth pastor, and they'd like it to be from Iowa County, I guess, so.
Because we're required to have a faith representative on that board if you're there.
I'll ask.
So, yeah, if you guys know anybody, I can't think of anybody, I know my priest probably won't,
Yeah, I'll reach out to him.
but
It's just once a month meeting, third Monday.
Who's the
He might know
one
someone.
that's a coach or he's coach's track?
Saucer?
oh, yeah, it could be. Yeah, so if you guys know anybody, or, I mean, it's pretty, I think they'll just, they'll just listen in, I don't think they gotta do it. And that was about it, really, they just talked about some other things. And then, of course, it was me and two other new supervisors from Jefferson and Keokuk. And so then, of course, they explained like what all these different people do, so. And then I had the safety meeting on Tuesday, and it was pretty simple. They had like 3 injuries, I guess, and that was pretty much it. They just went over what trainings people are doing, so.
That's it.
Oh, one thing though, Josh asked, he said Alan was on the security committee, and I don't remember, I don't remember.
We don't have that listed.
Yeah, that's what
The security committee.
That's what Josh is like, are you on that? And I was like, I don't think And he's
We have
like, Alan,
security, whatever.
Maybe it was top secret.
he said
security.
Alan.
No, I remember we did something.
Alan was on it, but anyways, we can,
Had to do the cameras and the locks.
okay. But he just asked if I was on it, and I said, not that I'm aware of. So,
Okay.
But,
I don't care with that.
Maybe it was more building the ground.
Right.
Plus maybe it was a temporary committee that was.
well, that's what I don't. Because that's what, one of the
Yeah,
things they were talking about.
Do they have meetings?
He did not say, but that's one of the things they were talking about was like the locks and stuff and security, so.
Okay. Well, I met with the sheriff and we can talk about that later when we talk about the budget, but he made some cuts there. And then we met with Dylan and Dylan made some cuts. I also got notification from our architect for the courthouse project. The final change order, I believe, is done with Tricon, who was our major contractor for that job, that was all put together before Chris and I got on here, but there is gonna be $57,500.87 that will be credited to our account. So our final bill, Randy, will be that much less. Did you get that, Randy? Do you want me to forward it to you? So that, I don't know, I imagine that has to go back to ARPA funds. Is that where that came out of?
Our ARPA funds are all expended, but it'll come out of that general fund, the local tribal consistency fund.
Okay.
that $100,000 that we received.
So basically, it's just that 57.5 that won't be spent and won't be billed. So, I don't know if that's something we can do something with that money, or if it just gets absorbed, or what it does.
Part of it'll have to be used for the doors, the locking system.
Yep. Then I didn't know if there would be, perchance, maybe some for the carpet, or the painting that we took off the budget. That's something we can discuss later. I don't know where that money would go. I'm not sure how we access it, or when we pay the bill. We haven't paid the bill yet,
Right.
so we need to, that's probably a discussion after we get the final bill.
Yeah, get the final bill and
So-
And we have to still do a budget amendment for the remaining ARPA funds. Or, it's all in the same fund, but, that has to be amended before we can spend it, because we're supposed to have had it spent last year.
yeah, so I was wondering.
So then we had the radio governing board meeting, got some somewhat numbers, because the company that's on the board with us as well, they replaced them with somebody else, and so it's not in stone, but it looks like it's gonna be about the same as what you started with when we purchased these radios. So it's gonna be possibly up around $7 million for everything. So, but I think that's a deal. We can further discuss that when we have Rob and Josh come in, and they can explain what's going on with it and where we're at with it. We did discuss about trying to pay that other bond down. And I told them, they asked about that, and I said, well, that's kind of our wish, but we have to pencil it all out yet to see if we can do that.
Because if, yeah, like how you said, the increase in the interest rates, it might not actually be advantageous.
Right, so I just said I just told them that's our wish, but we haven't penciled it out. So, and then I asked, would there be a possibility to maybe delay this 1 or 2 years? And that didn't seem like it was, maybe a slight chance that would be an option. But then another thing is, do we need to purchase as many pieces of equipment as we did before? We're looking into that to cut that. So I think, confident maybe we can figure something out with that. There's still ways to go. One is the radios are gonna go from a dual band to a single band. It sounds like 700 to 800 megahertz. They also have some VHS radios that are not being used that I think they're gonna use with the school buses, so the schools can communicate directly with dispatch if there's an emergency.
Wait, like the ones that,
No, these are radios that were from like way back in 2000. They're the VHS only. They can't be used for our law enforcement personnel.
okay,
Yeah. So they're just, they're of no use. They're just sitting there. So they're just looking for a use for them. Why we have them.
yeah,
So, and they're gonna check with the other schools too. Williamsburg kind of requested, it's called Network First. The LP tanks are, we see they're mounted there. There's 3 days of runtime on them when they're full. So, it looks good over there, I think. We did discuss the VDAs. I think I told you about those. Those are the amplifiers that are like in the schools. So, and structures, so we know that the police radios will work inside of them. They are doing talks with the hospital, especially since we may possibly have contracted officers there. So they're gonna hopefully discuss who's gonna pay for it, what's it gonna cost. So, and that was there from there. And then I got more, but do you want me to wait till after next time?
Yeah, let's do that.
Because the next one's kind of extensive.
You haven't had anything cheap yet.
No. Well, no, not expensive. I said extensive.
Oh, I thought you said expensive too. I was like, good God. You just keep telling us millions and millions there.
he's a big spender today.
Hey, I did say we're getting 57,000 taken off. Yep.
You did. Yeah, but that 7 million, maybe
You asked for 7 million.
Yeah, my eyeball went crazy over here.
Well, I don't know what the original one was. When you guys set that up for the radios,
Somebody's got us at 5.
All right. The first thing we have is fuel bids for next year. Actually starts February 1st and runs through the end of January. So this is for gas, diesel, everything else. We received 2 bids.
Do we have fixed and variable again this year?
They, those were options. Make sure that's-
A couple years ago, it was right when Trump took off, wasn't it? Oh, when he left office. We finally fixed the fuel bids for the first emergency recruiter and go up from moving, and we actually came up with one.
Multi-county oil. So how do you want to read this? The margins? Gas and oil is it 12 cents? Diesel's 12 cents. Number 2 diesel is 10 cents. DEF is $2.10 a gallon. Premium additive is 4 cents. Winter additive is 5 cents.
What was the base on the diesel?
We don't have a base, it's just the margin.
premiums, or margins 10 cents, and 12 cents on regular diesel, number 2, 10 cents.
Okay.
This is multi-county and that's all they submitted.
One sheet. Don't get ready yet, so you're here.
12, 10. Good.
New Century FS. Their gas is 12 cents. Diesel is 11 cents. Diesel 2 is 11 cents. DEF is $1.93. Premium additive is a nickel. Winter additive is 4 cents. That is terminal price plus margin. They also gave a fixed price.
Okay.
Just waiting for her to get caught up. Fixed price per gallon, $2.49 plus 30-cent state tax.
We don't pay tax. Do we?
Yeah, did we pay tax? Yeah, they got $2.49 plus 30-cent state tax. I guess I'll have to play road use test it probably on that.
I mean, I know we get refunded, but I think for that's for stuff at the pump.
Diesel is 302. Number 2 diesel is 282. DEF is $1.93. Premium additive is a nickel. Winter additive is 4 cents.
Yeah, so I do believe that 30 cents you would get that back.
And they're the only one that has the fixed bid.
302.
Discussions.
What's the base, what's the
What was it
base?
last year?
Last year, gas
249.
was 244. Diesel 1, 325, 324.9. And diesel 2 is 299.
So that's the basis that we would add to the 12 and 11 cents too.
No, that was last year, right? You said,
Yeah, that was last year's.
well, what, yeah, do they probably don't have the terminal price right now?
I can find that.
The terminal price will change as the year goes on. right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably daily.
Overall though, the margin's a little bit less than last year by 1 cent-ish.
Last year, New Century, looks like all their margins were 11 cents. This year on the gas, it'll be 12.
Oh, maybe that's backwards. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I'll have Connie pull up what the state bid is right now. Or the rack price. Forgot to get that. I pulled last year's.
You're right, I don't know if we want to fix it.
I don't know
On
if
a
you
year
want
like
to,
this year?
I don't know if you want to, with the new administrations and what their proposal for the fuel price is down. Doesn't mean it has to go that way, but that's my feeling, it'll go down.
Yeah, that's.
I think it's gonna drop this year too. Unless
Yeah, I mean,
we have a catastrophe, unless we have a hurricane or something,
yeah, I mean,
we're on the ball line.
All right, as of, I don't even know what today's date is.
24.
As of about right now, diesel 1 is 262, diesel 2 is 238. Two 262, 238. And what were their bids?
fixed is 302, 282.
So at current prices, you would be paying, like a 40-cent premium. So gas prices would have to move up, 30 cents or so to break.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
So as long as they don't go up 40 cents, you should take the 30 cents, you should probably take the margin. If you think they're gonna go up quite a bit,
Take effect, but.
It looks like you said,
if we take-
no, multi-county's the cheaper one, right?
No,
Well,
depends what you want.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'd say they're both about the same, but the DEF is cheaper.
Yeah, that's what Deputy goes earlier.
The diesels are getting cheaper in this century. Or point,
And then their number 2 is a penny higher though, so it's basically the same. I mean, you probably use more,
Yeah.
you probably use more number 2 than you do number 1, don't you?
it's about 50-50, I think.
it was 12 cents on the multi-county. And then 10 cents, right? 12
Yeah,
and 10.
number 2.
Yeah,
And
kind of
then
even
12 and
out.
11. But the death,
Well, is it, on New Century, it's 11 and 11, right, for their number 2 and number 1?
right.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we currently have New Century. I think everything goes well with them.
Their deficit's $1.93 compared to 2.10.
And then we go through about 2,000 gallons of that a year. So, I mean, if everything is relatively the same, I wouldn't worry, 10 cents for 2,000 gallons, $200. The most important thing is they're always, if all the prices are the same, and they're always here to fill us up.
You don't have any problem with their fuel, I mean, I don't think so.
I'll make a motion to go with FS as, or New Century. What, can I do that yet? You ready?
Yep.
Motion to accept FS as margin, New Century, whatever you want to call it.
I'll second it.
Diesel bid or fuel bid.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved.
New Century on margin, right? That's what you said?
That's one we accepted.
All right. The next thing I have is a resolution here to accept LL Pelling to do V52 resurfacing project LFM -100-7X-48 with the amount of $3,263,467.11. This resolution also gives me the right to sign bonds and certificates of insurance and contracts on behalf of the Board of Supervisors.
This is all been approved through rule.
What's that?
Do we have to sign off on this?
No, this is the same thing I give you every time. The back page of this is all the bids. And then the second page here is our Iowa County bid analysis that goes through the bids and just says we like the numbers. The bid came in 100,000 or roughly 3% less than our estimate. So we're happy with it. And Al Pelling always does a good job for us.
Why is there some of the bonds in there?
What's that?
You said there's something about bonds in there?
No, the resolution that you guys always sign gives me the
Authority to sign for that.
authority to sign all the stuff on Doc Express.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'll sign off that you guys accepted this contract, then Pelling will accept the contract, and I'll sign off on the bond, and I'll sign off on the contract again, and something else.
So which, is this for H? Is this for H?
What's that?
No, F52.
V52. It's H Avenue. Yeah, H Avenue.
We want H Avenue.
You want to argue?
No, no. Get the favors lined up.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve authorization to sign?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those say nay. Motion approved. Everybody gets to sign.
All right. Our guys this week have been cutting brush and pushing snow. We had our in-house safety meeting this week. We went through slip strips falls, bloodborne pathogens,
Did you cover anything else?
ladders.
Is there any other topics?
We did talk about how we are,
Disposal of products?
yep, Pope's Corner and the yard site. That nothing will, everything will be disposed to the landfill. We also this week, in accordance with that, we have new waiver forms that if we do cut down brush in the ditch and choose to burn it within the ditch, if we are within a quarter mile of an inhabited structure, the landowner will now sign off on a waiver. So we got that waiver made, and then the title sheet, because it has to be recorded as well. So, yeah, more things will be going to the landfill. And this could also present, I mean, with the waivers and everything, if you could just see more trees in the ditches just piled up, never to be burned. It's just the way it might go. And,
Or plan better where to put the piles?
gotta be in that ditch, gotta be right there in that ditch.
So I mean, to a house. You wouldn't have to-
Yeah, but I mean, you cut it down in the ditch, it kind of stays in that ditch. It's,
You know, you kind of push them together.
a little bit, yeah. But even if we're within a quarter mile, even if we're a little bit further, we're gonna try and get those waivers, even if we're a little bit past that. So,
Nick, can you send me the Word doc for this, please?
I did this morning in that email.
All right, thank you.
And it's gonna be one of those documents that, may or may not, I don't know if you can copy it over or not, because this is out of an IM from the DOT.
So that, I'm sure the discussion was too, the timing of lighting it, if you get a waiver, would depend on the wind as well.
Yes, that's part of the law, yeah. The wind and the fire has to be out by the end of the day. So we might have, make sure that it's all stomped out good. You have to have somebody on site watching it at all times. So, yeah, we should be very, very legal doing that. So even so far this week, we did have 2 landowners sign off. And that's not just for fire, that's for like air pollution is what the waiver kind of covers, so. I have Iowa Bridge and Culvert coming up to look at some, you know how last year we had, by the water tower on B77, we put an extension through that cattle pass, got rid of the guardrail. Well, there's another culvert further north on B77 where the road sloughs off a little bit. I have Iowa Bridge and Culvert coming down to look at putting some extensions on to there and to give us a cost estimate on that. And if that goes all right, well then maybe next year we'll do the same thing out there on IWV, because there's that culvert too, where the guardrail is really close. So
did they do the work on the one north of my house on B77?
we did that.
That's what I thought. So
Yeah, we did that.
they-
This other one is a twin cast in place culvert, twin, so it's a lot bigger. And so they're gonna have to like take rebar, drill it into the existing,
There's constant water in that one, isn't there?
probably, yeah. Like constant, I mean, some of those dry times in the summer. But if they do it, they would probably do it, yet this winter.
Where's that one at, in relation to Conroy,
Still go north.
down at the bottom of the page?
Yep, the one spot where there's guardrail there. You get that Pioneer Cemetery, let's see, no,
Before.
Before you get to the winery.
Yeah, I know where it was
yep, before you get to the winery. They kind of have some
at. Probably about the
animals off.
lowest point on that road, probably.
Yeah, and some animals kind of off there to the west. Just north of where, is it Neil, who's the old super?
Beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah, just north there.
The old Prince house.
Yes. So, concept statements and other papers, working with the DOT to get some of that stuff changed. That 180th sign off so I talked to Tim a little bit for 180th Street. We wanted to just make sure that the landowners were on board. Did you get the paperwork for that? I emailed it to you.
Did you?
I told you I'd also bring you hard copies.
Yeah, I'll have Jared, I'll task him with that right now. Call him and run it over.
We just want to make sure that everything is okay with the landowner before just want to be ahead of it. That advice did come through Tim, so. I did have the meeting with Calhoun Burns about our bridges. Anything else? New pickups. So I'm kind of looking at, for next year, our equipment might just be that we get 5 or 6 new pickups. We're kind of in dire need of pickups. I'm not gonna do it in how we did it in the past. In the past, we've just sent off letters to our local dealerships. I know that the state has worked with certain vendors, so the state being the DOT has worked with certain vendors throughout the state to get fixed prices. So like if you want a if you want a Chevy Silverado 1500 half-ton dual cab, this engine and everything else, Carl Chevrolet will provide that for a certain price, $40,068.78. So I have to work out a little bit. I have an idea of what we want.
I thought state bid was state bid.
I'm not 100% sure. So when you mean state bid is state bid.
Didn't matter which dealer you went to, I thought there was a bid that they had to follow.
Well, since I've never done this before, from what I have,
I'm not sure either.
yeah, from what I have gathered is that these dealerships have said that they will provide these vehicles at these prices. We will give the opportunity for local dealerships to match.
I was just gonna tell you, yeah, you need to ask the local ones the same thing.
We will, but I just want to let you know that we're gonna have, probably a little bit more competition than what we've done in the past, where we just send it out to the locals and see what the prices are.
We value a lot of local.
We do. We'll ask them if they want to match or submit a bid, or maybe they'll be lower, but, so I have plenty of pages of notes and everything else that I've printed off that I have to go through. But I just want to let you guys know that next year's equipment will probably be pickups, and I'm going to look into the whole state bid thing on how. Because I think in years past, we've just bought 1 or 2 pickups at a time, and we've just asked locally what they cost, and we went with it. So essentially, I just want to let you know that this year we'll be looking a little bit deeper into this state bid. We haven't utilized, but we're going to look into it.
So what do you do with the old pickups? Do you trade them, sell
Probably just put a for sale sign in them and try to sell them. Maybe we might have 1 or, yeah, I'm not sure if we'll trade them off yet or just put a for sale sign in them.
We don't need a bowling yard sitting somewhere either.
No, we won't have a bowling yard sitting somewhere. No, it's just a matter of, and I think we've done this in years past, even when we've had a rickety one, that they have a mechanic over or something like that to say it's roadworthy, just as is.
Yeah, I was wondering why we don't trade them in more, so we're just gone with them.
Which we might. The last couple of pickups that we've got have been,
I know some of the last ones are pretty sketchy when we cover them.
yeah.
They probably don't give you very good trade-in.
What would they
I mean, you
check?
can probably get more. I mean, I understand what you said, but you can probably get more. Put a for sale sign in it.
And that part wouldn't matter a heck of a lot because putting them first, we're talking a couple $100 maybe, and then all of a sudden you're tasked with some liability, and then you're tasked with me spending some time writing out waivers and stuff. So I know that in the past couple, I think local people have said that they're interested, and we've been like, well, here's the issues with it, and they're like, I'll still take it. I'm a mechanic or something like that. So that's why maybe we've held on to them and put them.
When you put a for sale sign, do you put an amount on it, or is it just a sealed bid?
No, it's just pretty much all bids have to be in by a certain date. I'll put a minimum on it probably, so nobody gets into like $1, minimum $1,000 or something, $500. And we're working on the rock maps. That'll take me about a day. We're doing it same as last year, where we have it broke down into local and FM. So it just takes more time. And then whenever you guys do your budget amendment, that truck that was gonna be here in late June, I guess, single axle, supposedly might be here at the end of March. So we're gonna add that to this year's budget. And so I'll need to add a couple $100,000 to this year's budget. And that is what I have.
You'll be around today?
Yep.
After our meeting, we get done, it'll be late morning, we're gonna stop over and talk to you for a minute. We'll give you a call when we find out what time we're done.
Yeah, I don't know, we got a lot of budget stuff, so.
You got it.
We'll take a quick recess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, Becky.
Good morning.
Who,
Morning,
Becky?
Becky.
Happy Friday.
I'm not gonna drop $7 million on us or anything, are you today?
You got to give away.
No.
No,
Okay, good.
really not much going on.
You come in as Ty side.
No news is good news, Kevin.
No?
It's usually the kiss of death on what you'll have accidents say.
We'll be fine. The most recent update is on the van, 3 to 4 weeks. Should be here, that'll be probably another couple, 3 weeks to get it on the road.
You get it decaled and
Gotta get it decaled, get it undercoated. What else do we usually do to it?
radios.
Yeah, the radios. So, yeah. That all takes time, but I have all talked to all those people and they are aware that we're getting it, so they'll be able to get us in quickly, hopefully.
Good.
So. Nothing else?
No.
Our phone's kind of been giving us fits, but right now we have the workaround that they're getting transferred to my cell phone. USA Communications is who our carrier is at the office. And they're having problems with like US Cellular and Verizon calls getting to their switchboard to get sent to us. Some of the smaller telephone companies are experiencing this currently. They don't have a fix for it, and they don't know how long it's gonna take. So I am trying to get a hold of Windstream to see if we can go back to them on a temporary basis, or if I have to sign a contract for a certain, if we're under contract for a certain length of time. USA Communications is month to month, so there's nothing with them, but, it's frustrating to have all the calls coming to my cell phone and, you know. So I'm working on it, but we've got a workaround right now, so we're still getting the calls. It's just a matter of, it's not convenient.
Yeah,
Yeah. We'll get it figured out.
good deal.
Yeah. Anything else?
Keeping enough drivers and everything.
Got somebody that just came in today and turned in or this week and turned in an application.
Well, you're not looking, right? It's
Not really, but
always nice to know.
it's nice to know there's people out there. This seems to be a very good candidate that I'm interested in hiring, so.
You went through a period of time when winter was tough because we had people in the south.
Yeah,
Is it somebody I know?
yep,
Talk to him.
so, yeah, I think he would be a good one to have on board. Just fill in here and there, like, got a guy out for 4 weeks covering, got somebody else having knee replacement again, so nobody's as young as they used to be.
I hear you.
So,
Any other questions?
okay,
Thanks, Becky.
Thanks, Becky.
no,
Man, that was
once a
good.
month.
That was so good. I will be back.
I will relay that message to the guys.
Oh, man, that was some of the best I ever had.
Yeah,
Shrimp and fish.
we've heard that from a lot of people, so.
American
Oh,
Legion,
that fish
gotta go.
Yeah,
That's good.
Oh, man, it was good.
Did you make a lot of stuff the other night then, or you just?
Yeah.
We did the side dishes. You're talking Saturday night?
Yeah.
Well, on the roof. The ones that were in the kitchen were the ones that made the side dishes, and then the guys came in and cooked the steaks. Your guys, Kathleen.
I didn't know if it was all purchased. Didn't know if it was all purchased or you made it all? Like the baked goods.
Oh,
No, those.
the pies
came-
come from,
The
are you
pies.
talking about the pies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Them came from that.
Oh, not a Kelowna.
Amish or
No,
something.
Miller, yeah, Isla Miller or something.
I thought that was your forte.
No.
Cakes.
Get more potatoes next time for fish fry.
I know, isn't that crazy?
What'd she said like 200 and some in an hour?
We had 212 potatoes and we were out by a little after 6.
They started at
We
5.
started at 5.
You were out the last time I went, like last year during winter, whenever you guys were having them, I mean, yeah, it was like 6 o'clock now, like we're out.
Wow, people were there like
Yeah.
standing in line outside.
But it's good
before we even
stuff.
opened the doors.
It's really good.
But then, once everybody gets through, when it gets to about 6:15, then you just have a few stragglers. So we were cleaned up and done by 8 o'clock. Easy. So,
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
thank you.
Spread the word, tell your friends.
You want me to go back to my communications?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I had the East Central Region Governing Board meeting, you know, the one that's gonna be done in the end of June, and I'm back on the representative board. A lot of stuff went on, and some of it's gonna involve Randy in the future here. I don't know if you know that. But, so the region is planning to pay and has budgeted for employee vacation payouts. So it'll still be pass through money, and May's gonna come. She's gonna talk to us. She'll be talking to you. There was a possibility that the county may be responsible for unemployment, but the supervisors in that meeting were like, no. And I don't know how it's gonna develop, because we're not gonna exist after June 30th. And so the unemployment's gonna come after that. But we basically voted yesterday to include the unemployment payout with the funds that are being budgeted for staff retention and vacation pay. That's all budgeted together in a 500,000 within this budget. The staff retention is gonna be because they're encouraging these people, if they can find new jobs, to take them. But the board has to have people there. We have to have people in the field to keep the services for our people. We can't go without people. So they're putting it's legal. They've got an attorney's opinion to budget in there. The staff retention. So starting in February, any staff member that's still there is gonna get this amount of money. I think it's like $750. And I can send you the numbers, but anyhow, it goes February, March, April, May, June. And it escalates up to a total of $6,000. So each month longer that the staff member stays, they're gonna be compensated. It's not enough that if one of the staff members finds a new job, that they're gonna stay for that. So the feeling was that they still have to figure it out, that the unemployment could possibly be in that number because that's already budgeted. Plus, if some of them people do find new jobs, their salary's gonna be there yet that hasn't been paid. That's gonna be within the budget. So it's just a matter of figuring that out. We have till June to get that figured out. I'm gonna go talk with Belinda and just see where we're at with it. The CEO, May, says she will give a letter of recommendation to any employee that's out in the field. And these staff retention pay is for the people in the field as well. So,
Will we have an employee in the county anymore? We have a county employee.
okay, so Marilyn's gonna come in, if we can put her somewhere on the agenda on the 31st. And she's gonna explain what services that we're still gonna be responsible. And maybe you guys have heard of this, but it's called the General Relief Fund, which isn't used very often. And they provide like funerals and money for heat and things like that. She said it's very minimal, but I asked her to come and explain that to us. So she's gonna come and explain that to us. So that's gonna be a service we need to figure out if we're gonna retain somebody for it or not. The feeling is this new company is not gonna keep any employees. The feeling is, and it's not confirmed, that a lot of these services that are being done in the field, they're gonna attempt to do virtually on the internet. So the paper processing and everything like that. That's just the feeling. So there will not be probably any retention of any people that are working for the East Central region. So the East Central region is still up for being interviewed as a disability access point. So that's another thing that they would manage. If that's the case, I'm assuming that maybe some of those positions will still be available within just within that main board. or the main office. And I'm not sure how that'll all work out, but that's the information I got so far, and I'm sure each month there'll be more. I did want to say that we did have a closed session, and I can't discuss what was in it, but there is some litigation going on, possibly against the East Central region, by another party, that's getting worked out. So, but I can't really discuss anything that was in that meeting, but that was an extensive meeting. Like I said, I went at 1 o'clock and I didn't get out of there till probably 3:30 or 4. So, and that's all I had on that one. And that's for the rest of my communications.
Something a minute ago, we had the union discussion that
Yes.
we're not gonna
that's
discuss
what I said.
publicly. I don't think we should.
No, not yet. But we did meet, or virtually meet with Ann.
To do discussion of what we want to do with the contracts and stuff. And I said, we don't think we should discuss that in an open meeting.
No, not till we have something in front of us anyways.
So I was the backup for snow removal on Thursday. Randy was backup on Wednesday. Randy and Sherry were doing some snow shoveling.
Oh, I guess if that happens again, you can be sure to give me a call.
But other than that, I'm the lawnmower and the brush.
We did it for shovels.
Can't help it, I did it lazy way. But yeah, thank you for doing that. I don't know what else. We'll go to the sheriff right now. I'll come back if I think what else there was.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning, Rob.
So the marshals did sign the contract, so the new price increase will go into effect February 1st. So that's all done. So now I think it's just up to you folks how you want to proceed with the numbers with the feds. They say they can give us whatever we want, whenever we want it, so it's just, if we did this, as far as adding manpower, we'd have to have a budget, because it's not going to be done as it is right now. Did everybody get this?
Yeah. And even if we don't do something now, we change, but maybe for next budget cycle, for July 1, we could do something. We don't want to do a budget,
Yes.
but
It's up to us. It's gonna go to $85 a day. The only, if there was anything pressing, it would be that we have a candidate that's available now. I don't know when they'd be available then. And that's,
you do have one now.
You said he's already certified, right?
yeah, he was a former jailer who went to a factory
That's
south
a-
of here.
Saving a big expense right there.
Yeah.
To train somebody, right?
Yeah, it would probably save us $3,000 used. Yeah, because you have to get them through the 40-hour and that, so yeah. with Getting that done and hotel rooms and all that is probably.
That's what I was wondering, if it would be that cheap if you're paying salary, hotel room.
Well, it's not the same length that ILEA is. It's just 40 hours.
A week.
But broken up in some pieces, because there's other training you have to go to. It's not all in one nice, easy swoop. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
How much would the budget limit be?
For the rest of the year, that's a good question. Let's see, it would take us, because we still, even though we have somebody in mind, we still have to open it up. We still have to. So let's see, probably looking at about 45,000.
In that cost estimate, like you said, it'd be at most 112,000. Do you
Yeah.
know where this employee would fall in that range, or potential employee?
Well, I think that the county handbook gives him back his pay scale that he was at when he left. So it's not as expensive. It's not the most expensive insurance package, so it would be less than that.
Okay.
And that number, that 45,000, I'm using the worst case scenario, so,
That's insurance.
yeah, so that drops about 8,000 off. So it's probably more like, it's 37,800, but 35 would probably do it because we're not, broken in that fund.
But you bring in revenue in as well.
That's what I was just trying to figure out.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if you upped it, 3 people.
how much revenue do you think you'd be bringing in then?
Well,
There's 150-ish days left on the year.
right. Let's say that it was 120 days. Looking at, sorry, 120 days. Probably looking, it'd be a wash, it'd be lower 30,000, depending on when we got the prisoners. I think they can pretty much fill the order if we ask, right?
Right, I think this would be a missed opportunity if we didn't do it now versus waiting until July.
So this seems odd that they got prisoners waiting around, go, okay, we got room now, and you just bring them in.
Well,
Could be overcrowded
They-
somewhere.
They like them to be with us because they don't have to do transports with them. Well, if they're sitting at Lynn County, they do. So they just like us.
So if you said tomorrow you have room, they'll bring you more,
We would go,
you do it right now.
or,
Yeah.
it's available.
How many do we
Guaranteed.
have right now?
On the Fed side, I think we're around 15.
Yeah, right now, just,
So right now, we're
Because they-
getting
they need
$25 a day more on the 15 that we have,
Starting February 1st.
February 1st, okay.
Did you include that in your figure too?
No, I'm just
That's what I was
using
trying to-
3 prisoners.
That's a good point. I think it's a no-brainer myself. I mean, it seems like things are lining up for a reason here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, just judging from things I'm seeing on the news, the prisoner numbers are gonna skyrocket here. So it's not gonna be a matter of can we have them, it's gonna be a matter of how many can you take.
But did you say like 18s are max then, because you have to save room for locals?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna fluctuate a little bit because someone's gonna, get sentenced and whatever. I would say 18 really pushes it if we have state prisoners.
yeah, but we're able to, if needed, and they need a favor, we like to try to help them out. We have to hold somebody for a while, we can continue to do it, we would just continue to do it, whatever the number would be. It's just a great relationship with the marshals. They assured me that they would get us whatever we wanted, because we stuck with them so long, even when Lynn County got out of the business.
Why did Lynn County get out of it?
You know what? I don't know exactly. My guess is the sheriff there couldn't find the manpower. That's my guess. And I think he needed a raise to raise their pay to a point that they could get candidates. And I think it just got to be where they weren't giving him the raise and he couldn't get enough people. That's my guess, just, hearing bits and pieces about it. I was very surprised that it happened because you're talking about millions of dollars there. But if you don't have the manpower, and that's been the thing in, law enforcement is manpower. It's hard to hire. It's hard to hire for anybody, any business.
So any other questions? Maybe the board want to make a decision?
do you need a motion?
Yes. I'll make a motion that we let the sheriff hire another additional jailer so that he can up his jail numbers or prisoner numbers.
Or honor this contract?
Yeah. And on.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved.
All right. I'll get part of
Start
every time.
now, not wait until July. Is that-
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This, I don't know if we should rename it to like Holiday Inn Jail or.
Honestly, Motel 6.
Please don't ask for a pool now or something.
Yeah.
But we did get rid of, I'll never forget that. The only thing was this lights, our flies in the skylight.
That is true.
I thought that was the weirdest thing about all the things you could find, that's what you found.
You know, I think there's some logic behind that, because I think he really, I mean, we were ranked the number one jail, mid-sized jail in the state, the first time they started ranking. And I think he feels like he has to put something in there that's negative, otherwise he'll have the feeling that he's rubber stamping those inspections, so. He always finds something, no matter how minor it is, and so we always let a few flies get in there. And we deal with it after he says something.
We had hard water in the toilets.
So he doesn't go fishing with them?
No, surprisingly not. That thing, we were destroying our plumbing. That's what that was about.
Well, I know, but we got ruled up for it.
I know. And, you know, what do you do?
I look at that as a suggestion.
Well, we fixed it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, he's looking at.
What I'm saying is, in the whole world, the whole scheme of things you could find wrong in a jail, that's what you found.
But that to me,
I'm happy
that's a
with
good
that.
thing.
Oh, no, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's like, you gotta find something.
Yeah. You know, the nice thing is that we were replacing fixtures pretty regularly when that was going on.
Because they got such a
I don't
funky
think-
valve in them.
I don't think we've had.
well, that and just
Fixture.
knowing the water's got so much line.
Yeah.
And it just insane. The piece of sand and some of the flushing valves, that's all it takes.
Yeah, which actually helped us. If you look at our water bills up until about a year ago, they made some fixes.
When I
Which,
constantly seeping.
no, it was the other way around. I think there was so much sand stuck in the meter that it wasn't turning,
Oh,
and eventually gave out. And then we got it fixed, and now we have real water bills. Before we looked like, you know, pop stand.
Looks like you were just meeting your water out to you. You only get a cup today, guys.
To brush your teeth and
Yep. Anything else you want to do with your cup?
All right, well, thank you, and I'll,
let the process begin.
we'll get to advertising.
on Andy Griffith, the jail inspector came in, remember, it was a new guy.
Yeah.
The old guy always just came down and went fishing with Andy. They didn't do a jail inspection.
There was no frog kicking with the other guy.
No.
Just check the doilies and.
We had a
I gotta break for the rest of it.
Linda? Laura?
Yes, Mr. Hudson. We'll be all formal, right?
It'll always be Lorinda for me.
I'll always be Lorinda, right? So, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. I know that budgeting can be a really difficult thing, and I truly appreciate, the decisions that you all are gonna have to make. I requested to be on the agenda to follow up on last week's board's discussion, that happened on Friday as it related to my department. I feel that it's very important to me that I tell you, I wish that you had talked to either the Board of Health or myself before openly discussing, budget to look at terminating or laying off people in my department. And, really the reason why is, I recognize that, or I sincerely hope that you're open to the information that I have to share today. And that you recognize the importance of having the department head involved in these kinds of conversations. The conversation last week has my staff very anxious about what's going on and very uncertain about their jobs. So whether or not these concerns are real, the fear of layoffs have taken hold in the department. I know that no final decisions have been made by you all, but unfortunately that uncertainty has already, set forth in motion. So I came in here to talk to you all about, what the health department does and why we do it, so that you can have some background information. So most of you already know that the health department is responsible for providing essential services. So there are things that we do that are mandated by Iowa code. So just to give you an idea of some of these. So public health, we're all about preventing disease and promoting health in the community. Local public health services provides grant money. One of the big things that we do is we perform what they call a CHA-CHIP. That's a community health assessment and a community health improvement plan. So we look at all of the data of the health concerns, the morbidity and mortality in our community, and we see what are the things that we really need to focus on. So this last year with the CHA-CHIP, there were three important strategies we felt were important for our county. But the one that we felt most passionate about, and I felt most passionate about, was to improve brain health and reduce death by suicide. In the last 6 months of last year, we had a death by suicide in each month. So 6 suicides in the last 6 months of last year. So in response to that, we founded the Brain Health Coalition of Iowa County. There's about 20 people that participate in that group. And we meet monthly in order to bring awareness to this issue in Iowa County. So some of the other big mandates that we do are disease surveillance. So most of you might be aware of that with public health. So we follow up on all animal bites or any kind of rabies investigations. We work very closely with law enforcement in order to do that. That is again mandated by the state. We do all the infectious disease investigations. So anything that's related to waterborne illness, foodborne illness, sexually transmitted disease, vaccine preventable disease, person-to-person spread, any kind of zoonotic disease, arthropod diseases, you name it, we follow up. The idea is that we want to stop the source so that no other people get sick. We also work respiratory and gastrointestinal outbreaks in long-term care facilities and schools. Things that you may not be aware of. When public health is working, you don't know that we're doing our job. This year we have had pertussis in our schools, so we've been working to make sure that that does not spread in our schools. We've also been working gastrointestinal outbreaks in our long-term care facilities. So these are things that we do to help make our county residents to stay safe and healthy. One of the other big mandates that we have from the state is doing something called directly observed therapy for tuberculosis. So when there's a case of tuberculosis that's identified in our county, our nursing staff goes out and provides medicine to them daily to make sure they take it for compliance. A patient can have up to 6 months of medicine in order to treat their tuberculosis.
Is tuberculosis still a big thing around here? Or how many, can you say how many you've had?
So in last year, we did have 1 case in our county. We Typically, it is more common in foreign-born individuals. And so there are counties surrounding us that have higher cases, much higher cases. And there are other health departments that are very concerned because the money that comes isn't enough to cover that service. But it's essential service, we have to cover it. And we don't want that to be spreading in our community.
So the pertussis in the school, what did you guys do with that?
So,
What actions?
yeah, so with pertussis in the school,
Pertussis.
whooping cough, it is one of those things, it's a vaccine preventable disease. So most kids are vaccinated, but we know that in this day and age, there's a lot of vaccine hesitancy, and there are families that choose not to vaccinate their children. So what happens is when we're identified a case, then we figure out, based on interview with that person, where have they spent their time that they could have infected other people.
So you've done that like this
Yes.
year?
Yes.
So how do you identify it? Do they tell you they got it or?
So all of these, the way, why this is so essential, essentially, is how it works.
Is that?
So if you go to a doctor, for instance, with your illness, and they test you, and it is a reportable disease, it is automatically reported to the state, which was reported to us.
Okay.
And then we contact that individual for an investigation.
So how many cases have there been of that?
I don't know if I can quote on the top of my head, but there's about 4 confirmed cases of pertussis in Iowa County. So, and that's confirmed. So not everybody goes to the doctor, which is the challenge. So, and so again, disease surveillance is a big one. It's an essential service and it's mandated. It has to be carried out. Immunization services is another one. So right now I'm in the thick of it, doing childcare immunization audits. So school and childcare audits are required every year. Every child that goes to school and every child that goes to a daycare has to have a valid certificate. And those have to be audited to make sure that they meet the Iowa code. Participation in the Vaccines for Children and the Vaccines for Adults program is encouraged, but it is not a requirement. The grant funding allows you to participate in those and provides you those vaccines at no cost.
So do you participate in that?
We do participate in both of those.
I thought we didn't do one of them though, because of the Medicare crossover. Wasn't it the adults?
No, so we do
Keep it
participate in
separate.
both. We just chose not to offer private vaccine.
Okay.
So that was a discussion at one of our board meetings, is did we want to start having private vaccine on
Mhm.
premise?
Yeah.
So that way we could provide vaccines to anyone who called. So right now, the only people that we can provide vaccine to are Medicaid patients or people without insurance or underinsured. So it's a very, it's very targeted at who we can provide those vaccines to.
Certain vaccines, right? Like flu shot, you can give to anybody or?
So that is something, so what we have in stock is specifically for this particular patient population. So one of the things we do in the fall is we use county dollars to purchase vaccine, and then we do give that. As you know, every fall we do a vaccine program. And then one of the other things we do is participate in emergency preparedness. So I work closely with EMS and EMA in order to do that. Just to kind of remind you, some of the things that we've done this year is I applied for a grant working with EMS, and we were able to secure 8 community 24/7 access AEDs. We put them out in the community, if you remember that. So they're at Lake Iowa, they're here in Marengo, Williamsburg, North English, Victor. I think I've hit them all. So we had 8 access AEDs. The total grant for that was something like $25,000. So that was good. Part of the emergency preparedness as well is we've trained over 300 school staff in Stop the Bleed, and we've provided a kit for every classroom in Iowa County. So these are things that, again, we get grant funding to do to be able to provide this to our community. So what other things do we do? Well, you also know that we have a home health agency. So our home health agency has been providing services to county residents for 50 years now. So it was started in 1975. So it's kind of ironic that it's 50 years. We provide nursing services, bathing services, and homemaker services. So homemaker is everything from homemaking, as in housekeeping, to errands. We get groceries. We pick up their medicine. We do laundry, meal prep. It could be a little bit of anything to kind of fill that gap of a caregiver. We accept a range of pay sources. So we do accept Medicare, Medicaid, VA, private insurance. We do accept those, as well as we have a private pay, which is that sliding scale that we've talked about before. So to just make sure that everybody knows, because I know Seth is kind of new to this, right?
Yep.
And so the sliding scale, this is somewhat common in county home health agencies. So this is something as a home health agency was more common in health departments in the past, and it's a sliding scale. So the idea is that we look at poverty levels, the federal poverty levels every year, and we do a sliding scale, hence the name, and it's all depend on what people's income is and their assets. So we know in our community, we have people who are farm rich but dirt poor, or should we say that the other way around? They're dirt poor, or dirt rich but farm poor, I don't know how you want to say it. And so it's really difficult. You know, they're not going to sell the $1 million family farm in order to pay for their medical costs. They want that to go on and on with generations. And so, but they don't have the money to pay for services. And so this is kind of the gap that private pay, that sliding scale pays for. So just to give you an idea, in 2024, 38% of our patients their payer source was the sliding scale.
What's the number on that?
So 38%. So
How
that's,
many
let's see, let me go over here. So we served 120 people in that fiscal year 24, and 46 of those were on sliding scale.
To the full extent, because I know there's different levels of it. You know what I mean? Like, how many were on like the...
So I can't quote right now how many were paying zero. Some pay nothing and some pay close to full fee.
Mhm.
So I don't have those numbers in front of me. I'll be glad to provide them.
Okay.
But 38%, so not half, a little more than third, were receiving services based on this assistance from the county.
And this is 46 individual patients, not 46 types of service where the
Correct.
nursing was on the sliding and the CNA.
Correct.
46
So
people.
of those 46, it could also be that someone was just receiving nursing service, or they could be receiving all three services.
Okay.
So a variety of those things. Again, data I could completely provide for you if that's your ask. So home health is not mandated by the state. It is a very common service that was provided over the last 50 years in a lot of health departments across the state. Due to budget costs, there are counties that have chosen to not carry that service anymore. It is also difficult in the state of regulation. So the state requires a lot of oversight to make sure that you're providing good quality care. And that takes up a lot of time and effort in order to carry that out. So I'm going to present some information of why I think it is an essential service, even though it's not mandated. So you're very aware, Iowa County has 16,400 people. About 20% of those people are on Medicaid. So it gives you an idea of our poverty level. Poverty level, I think, is about 10%. Don't quote me, but I think it's about 10%. But there are 20% of the population on Medicaid, which is about 3,200 people. If we look at that same approximately 16,000 people, 20% are over the age of 65. And what's concerning from a public health perspective, if we look at those individuals who are over 65, in Iowa County, approximately 12% of those are diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So if you've ever known anyone with Alzheimer's or dementia or any type of brain health issue, there's a lot of caregiver stress, whether it's on the spouse, whether it's on the children, or some kind of extended family. There's a lot of stress providing care for those individuals. Depending on where the state of that individual is in their disease process, they are also, very concerned about the burden they're providing to their family. And so, what is really tearing on my heart in the last 6 months is of those 6 individuals that have passed death by suicide, all of them are over 55. Some of them are due to caregiver stress, and some of them are due to not wanting to go to a nursing home. My own opinion applied, right? And so, the goal of this agency is really to keep people in home as long as possible and assist those families and caregivers to provide them to be able to stay at home. If we do look at what the options are, sometimes it's not safe for people to stay at home. And that's what our role is, to really assist the families to make sure that we know the appropriate time of when it's no longer safe to stay at home. If we look at our county, there's 225 approximately long-term care beds, so nursing home beds in our county. And I don't know how many of you in your life have had to place a loved one in one of those facilities, but it's not covered by most insurances. You either have to have long-term care insurance or be on Medicaid. To go on Medicaid, a lot of times you have to lose that family farm in order to go to the nursing home. So I'm sorry that's kind of dire, but that's why this agency is so important to this community, because we have this elderly population who is having these illnesses, and they don't have a lot of options. So again, just some quick data. Last year, fiscal year 24, I presented this to you in the annual report. We served about 120 people. So that could be anyone from receiving one service or all 3 services. Again, I could provide more detail if you want that information. I know that doesn't sound like a lot of people, but so one of the pieces of information that I wanted to share with you is the average time on census. So I did this. I went back and looked to see how long do we keep a person on services. And the average time is 16 months. So we've served that family in order to keep them in their home for an additional year to a year and a half before either it's become unsafe or their life has ended. I also want to give you the range, because we do get people who have had a knee surgery or hip surgery, and we see them for a short period of time. Maybe 2 weeks is more or less the shortest time we've had someone on census. And sometimes we're also sort of, I don't like to say this, but the last ditch effort for the family to feel like we've done everything we can before having to make the decision of having our family go to that nursing home. At the same time, we've also had a client who's been on service for 13 years. So when you have someone that stays on service, we can't turn over as quickly in order to serve more people. To give you some other numbers, my staff have approximately done 5,000 home visits this year. So that's, if someone has 3 weekly visits, that's in that number, but we've been in their homes about 5,000 times. If you want me to, I can provide this information. So this is the fiscal information for 2024. It's looking at it a little bit differently. So if I look at our, not our budgeted information, but our actual expenses. So in 2024, actual expenses were $762,193. Our actual revenue that was generated was $302,352.
352.
352. So that leaves a deficit balance between our actual expenses and our revenue of $459,841. So before you make that jump and say, well, that's what the home health care is costing, I also want you to know that 18.25% of our expenditures are on public health, those essential services that we have to provide to the county.
Does that include your salary?
Yes.
And
Well,
how much?
not my full salary.
Yeah.
So if you did a time study of what I do, it is about half public health and half home health.
Okay. And that 302,000, how much of that was recouped from we were behind on
So
billing for so
nothing
long.
in 24.
It's 352.
Yeah, whatever, but how, 302.
Yeah, it's 302,352.
Oh, I thought you said.
Yep, no,
So-
302.
Okay, thanks for that clarification.
Not a single dollar that was back billed from the stuff that we were behind on.
It would have been in 23, fiscal year 23.
Okay.
So again, just to give you some additional numbers, so 18.25% were on public health. So if I look at the revenue that's brought in by grants and the cost of doing that work, basically there was $87,539 dollars that were spent for essential public health services that were not covered with state funding. So in other words, we were providing, these are these, as your board of supervisor hat, right? These are these unfunded mandates that the state is asking counties to do. So we were, we have to do these things by state code, and there wasn't enough grant money to pay for us to do those services. So the board provided that, the county provided that. And then, so essentially then, if you do the math, 372,302 would be the deficit funding for the home health services. You want me to say that number again, John?
Yes, please.
372.
372,302. So if I go back to that idea that we serve 46 people on sliding scale, this is just an estimate, I'm just throwing out numbers. So if you divide that by 46, that means that each individual costs about $8,000 to the county. Again, it's not specific because one person could get all three services and one could get one, but I'm just throwing out that number, about $8,000 a person.
Why would you do 46? Wouldn't it be the 120 people?
She's talking about the sliding scale.
So just the sliding scale people. So in theory, don't ask me to do simple math today, but the difference between the 120 and 46, in theory, they would have a payer source. You see what I'm saying? So we would be reimbursed by Medicare, Medicaid, VA. So it's just these 46
Does that
individuals.
reimbursement cover actual cost?
No. So it depends on which payer source it is, right? So Medicaid does not reimburse at full cost.
I just had a few questions too. What is like the maximum amount of patients you can have in a week that you can see? I mean, how many people go out to do the home health care?
So my current staff, so let me back up. So we have 9 positions in the health department. So there are 3, and these are just positions, right? I'm not saying that they're filled right now, but positions. So we have 3 nurses, we have 3 aides, and 3 office staff, and that includes me as one of those office staff. So I have a vacant position right now in the aide position. So I have 1 vacant position there. I do have another nurse that resigned recently. And then I have 1 half-time nurse and 1 3/4-time nurse. So next week, I will be down to, now I can't do the math, 3/4 and a half, so 1 1/4 nurses.
So I guess what I'm getting at is, do you ever have max out that you can't take any more patients?
Yes.
So you have to
So-
turn down patients?
So, and it may be a sidebar conversation. So the way we do it is, I don't like looking at numbers because numbers don't seem large, right? They don't seem large. But what I like to do is, and it's in an industry standard in home health, you get so many points for what activity you have to do. So if it's an admission that's gonna take 3 hours, you get more credit for that, right? Than to go out on a weekly visit where you might be there 30 minutes to an hour.
Which I think was the Board of Health's request, was some information this summer on our points for every staff member.
Yes.
I don't think we've gotten that yet.
Yes. So, industry standard says that, nurses should earn about 20 points a week. So, that's where we are. And the challenge with it, is that with the census, those numbers kind of go up and down. So and right now, I reached out to another agency near us, and their census is way down as well.
I guess what I'm wondering is, if you turn somebody down, then do you help them find?
Typically, yes,
Because they're not just out there.
correct.
And then is there private companies that do home health care in our county right now?
So that is debatable. I
Why
know
do you
Abby's
like
done a little
somebody's
work,
insurance
but
company? Well, I mean, right now,
Yeah,
is there
there are.
some people's insurance companies that just pay a service instead of contacting you?
Yes, there's referrals that we have that are not coming to our health department or getting turned down by us. They're getting picked up by Keystone and other private companies
Cross
currently.
because you're too many points already.
correct. So it's very rarely we turn anyone down. We always go out, and then the biggest challenge, and I can provide some of this data too, of the people we serve, when we go out, if their insurance won't cover it and we offer them sliding scale, they don't want to pay for it.
So, but I think that's kind of a false comment there, because in our last Board of Health meeting that we had, you had your chart and how many referrals we had and how many we accepted, and there was a huge gap this year. So we do turn people down. If they need weekend care, if they need us to be there on holiday, if they need a night, we can't do any of that. So we do turn a lot of people down.
But that isn't a false statement, because when I say the number of referrals we get and how many we admit, it could be that once we've talked to them, the families decided to go to a nursing home. Or we recently got a referral and they decided to go to hospice instead of home health. And so it's not that we're just completely turning them away because we can't take them. There are other reasons why we don't admit them.
But there are some that we don't do because they require weekend care. Haven't we turned down patients before if they require weekend care?
So we typically don't get those referrals.
Now, most of the entities have learned that, not to refer to Iowa County for that reason, basically. Because we can't take weekend care or somebody that needs a holiday or whatever.
I can't speak for why other agencies
Yeah,
don't.
I mean,
do
I've talked to
that.
agencies, but yeah.
So, and that's your experience, it's not mine. So did you have another question, John?
No, I think that's the questions I had. I was just
Okay.
curious because it's kind of older to me as well. And I took care of a guy that had home health care coming in, and it was a great resource for him. So I would go see him every day, and he always enjoyed when they would come in to help him out. So
Like I said, last week I had family members, multiple family members that benefited from our home health agency as well.
And that's good to hear, right? I know that, there will be a lot of people that will reach out if they feel that their services might not happen. So in just kind of a quick summary, I mean, I know that a lot of questions, I was not here, but I heard a lot of questions like who would be laid off, how would services be covered? That's kind of what you're asking again. And I heard a lot of your concerns about, would we be leaving patients, without anyone to serve them? And so my ask for you, essentially, I know you're discussing a lot of transition plans. And so do you need to have a transition plan before you can make a decision?
I don't see anybody left out in the cold.
I think that really have to come from the health board.
They would have to, yeah, they would have
Yes.
to come up.
And so that's where I'm going with this is, I think I'm hearing there's a lot of talk about what agencies do this and what do this and who should be kept and who shouldn't. And I just don't feel that that's your decision to make. I propose that you ask for the Board of Health to make those decisions on the transition plan.
And I did say that word for word last week. I said that just in theory, just to come up with a budget number to see if it's worth even going down this rabbit hole. I just did some preliminary stuff. I said I'm not professing to have the answer to this, but I just said, just off some preliminary information because I was wondering if it's worth even spending time looking into this or not.
And the Board of Supervisors, the way I understand it is that your role is to determine how much money gets put to a particular department. It's not about deciding how the services are going to be carried out. That's the Board of Health's decision.
And that's what was stated last week.
But, okay, so now that you're down 2 people, is this the time that we need to make any kind of decision about this? So you don't hire somebody
So that's kind of where I started out in the beginning, right? I mean, now that this is the elephant in the room, it's kind of difficult for people to want to come and work at Iowa County. I'm not saying it's the time, because I'm very passionate about keeping this open and serving our community the way that it should be served.
How many nurses do you have now? They've been two.
Two.
A half and a.
Well, I
three-quarter.
still have, yeah, I still have 3 people. One has resigned, and so I still have 2 people,
Okay.
just not 2 full-time.
The other half and 3/4.
If you're 1 1/4.
And you still have your 3 aides,
So I have 2 aides currently,
2 aides.
and one of my office staff, it was a CNA before, and so she's filling that role in the meantime.
Can I circle back to the home health, a percentage of your 120? I probably can't answer this, but I just want like percent of them that need nursing, percent that need bathing, percent that need the homemaking.
I don't have that
As
data in
I
front of me.
just kind
Yeah.
of break it down, and nursing would be the way more expensive one of them for sure.
Correct. And so that's the other thing about, and, you know, I don't want to spend a lot of time, and I have my own data here from agencies that would potentially come to Iowa County. And we have to be careful to compare apples to apples, because home care agencies are not the same thing as home health agencies.
They don't. There's duties they don't do that you guys
It's
do.
completely differently regulated by the state, and what services they provide are different.
Sometimes you have to have more than one company to do certain things, like you might hire one company for your nursing and one company for your homemaking. And bathing, that might fall together, I would assume.
When you say aides, what are the, I mean, that's like.
So like a
CNA.
certified nurse and
Okay,
assistant, yeah,
okay.
yeah, an aide.
So like your nurses are RN, I mean.
Correct. Yeah, so the nurses are RNs, and then, the aides are CNAs.
Okay.
Yeah. They both hold their license.
Yeah,
so.
sure.
I mean, I know, we decide on what the budget is gonna be. But, you know, I would think it's due diligence for any board that we don't control, that they should look at ways to help with the budget as well. I mean, it shouldn't be status quo that I got this budget last year, so I'm gonna get it this year. You know, is there some things that you're not gonna do this year that you did last year? You know, not saying your board's doing that, I'm just saying, I know we control it, but we also need help from our department heads and from our commissions to make this whole thing work. I mean, we all have to work together.
Yeah, good stewardship. I completely agree with you. Yes.
I know there was, I think it was in the spring or summer meeting, I wasn't the one that brought this up. Another board of health member did bring this up and said we need to create a committee to look at this and see if this is a thing that's financially, like, we want to keep going, but that just hasn't happened, so. There's
So
been,
Kevin was on that committee.
Yeah, we've been a couple times, didn't we?
yeah, and then Ribbentrop and I discussed it in the summer meeting about doing it again. I have the recordings, I went back and made sure that was said, so.
I mean, even if you're like where you're at now, where you have 2 vacant
You need
positions,
time.
do they need to be filled? Is there something we can do
So,
with them? I mean, that's a board decision. I don't need,
correct.
I don't need to know your
And it's
opinion.
even a department head. I mean, I
Right.
give great thought to, can my staff keep the pace, you know, of not having a third aide, for instance. The trouble that you have in something that's so small is the clients have to be seen, right? I mean, they're getting care. They have to be seen. If you have one person sick, it provides 2 people full-time work on one individual. And it's, you just can't sustain that. And so I struggle with that, right? Because I also don't want a third person that's sitting around not doing a lot, right?
And again, like I said, that's for board discussion, your health board discussion, I'm just, things are going through my head here.
And they have mine too.
I mean, it's just, like, I get the emotional appeal to keeping it. But I also look at the facts and the numbers that we're at right now with our budget and negative ending fund balances as of today, and, you know, emotionally / like personally, do I want to do something like this? No, but it's coming down to the point where every year this is going to get worse and worse for Iowa County. And I just don't know how much more we can sustain it. And that's my motivation right there, you know, is to financially fix the county.
Well, you only fix it for 1 year.
Well, if you spend all that money, yes, but if you don't, then,
For negative, you only fix it for 1 year.
yeah, but you get what I'm saying, that the less overhead we have and the less we're backfilling a department, the more money we have to keep the lights on.
Unlike a business where a county of service is not a county of, I guess, per se, profit. Technically, every agency is a negative.
Well, that's why the state got out of the public health grant. Used to be backfilling the sliding scale fee. Back when I started, they still did it. But the state got a way of backfilling the sliding scale fee for home health because they were trying to migrate everybody's services over to more public health disaster prevention. And that's why a lot of counties have pulled out, because the state's they've been given that message for a long time. Becky Nowacek with the state, I used to work with previously on the board, even came to a board health meeting when you weren't here and said that's the intention of the state is to get out of the home health department for the county, so.
I'm just worried about the people that have no insurance I don't think any or any other entity will pick them up. What would be, if you have a private business and you're not gonna pay me, why would I go to your house?
Yeah, I know, I mean, that is part of the concern, and that's what I said last week. That's where the Board of Health would have to really delve into that,
And so the essence of time, to respect your time, I mean, my ask of you all was essentially that if you continue to talk about this, and you need a transition plan, that I would ask that you really, ask for the Board of Health. Assistance.
I would like to see, since the Board of Health is a meeting quarterly,
we're meeting next month.
okay, at least meet monthly until we get some of this figured out.
And so what is your ask of them?
To look into this, what can we do? What can they do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a healthcare whiz by any means. Don't try to pretend to be one, but is it something where we could, you know, if somebody has private healthcare insurance, could they just go to, instead of us going, could they contract a private company to come to them, because it's gonna get paid for? That frees our people up to be more to these people with the sliding scale.
And it's gonna cost the county more money.
That would
Because there's
cost-
no,
Because when you have a mixture of payer sources, when VA, for instance, is paying pretty much full fee, it offsets someone who's paying zero.
it's
And if
the
you take
salary
away those-
benefits.
Say if you got it and you're paying, VA's paying for all your stuff, and I'm over here and I'm paying nothing.
When insurance is not covering the cost of the call, how is that costing us money?
It would be an interesting to look into how many people you would need in salary and benefits to just do the sliding scale and see what the deficit is there versus the mixed pot. Now, I get where you're going with that.
Yeah, because I'm saying if we go up to Chris and he has insurance and you bill him and you don't get what you billed, and it's less than the cost of us going out there and doing business, how would we be losing money?
You should take the census down and have less staff, less overhead,
That's-
and just focus on
Yeah,
the,
the board chooses to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's up for the.
And again, you know, one of the things that I've talked about with the Board of Health over time, is, you know, we know there's a deficit balance. It's the cost of doing service to provide services to those who can't pay.
Well, like Kevin said, every
But,
one of our
You
departments.
know, is there a way that, you know, the supervisors, if you hold that, you know, purse string, right, then you cap that amount. And then that means if we get an admission for someone that we can't do within that money, we just have to stop admitting once we've reached the cap. Does that make sense? So like if you give me $100,000, once we've spent it, we just can't serve.
but how would you decide when to admit or to not admit a patient when it's just salary and benefits? You mean you would know what the expense is. There's no really other expense other than salary and benefits to provide these services. Does that make sense? So if
But
we cut
still
your,
have a cost per visit.
yeah, But it's all tied into salary and benefits though, and mileage.
No, it's industry standard. I
Yeah,
mean, and we just know that, insurance will reimburse us a certain amount, and then we just have to make sure that we fit in there. But, you know, not to open a can of worms, but, you know, fringe here is, you know, off the chart. You know, I have staff making $14 an hour and I'm paying more in benefits than I'm paying them in salary. I mean, that's a fringe over 100%. You know, industry standard is 26 to 30. So, you know, those are decisions that I can't choose to do, right? I can't cut my budget by cutting benefits.
and I don't think anybody on this board's interested in cutting benefits across the county, at least this year. We've already made quite a few changes since I've been on the board, so I'd like to keep it the same for a while yet.
So I had an ask of you, do you have any asks of me?
I appreciate you coming in, because I
Yes, you guys-
learned a lot.
So yeah, answered a lot of questions that I had.
I would like the monthly reports, we talked about this at a couple board health meetings ago about all the monthly reports being emailed out, you know, that's on the TV. Could you get those to me just so I can see the numbers from all the home health visits and whatever?
Yeah.
Okay,
So I mean, the graph shows you it's cumulative.
what'd you say?
The graph is cumulative. So
Yeah,
if you have like the graph from January, it shows you previous year's data.
that'd just be through July to January.
We can talk about it off.
Yeah, but if you just wanna forward me, if you have those reports, I would just take them and then I can figure out what I need from there.
Or ask, I'll give it to you.
I did ask via email. I have it. If we don't, I saw it heard back from you from December 18th. Oh, here it is.
But I gave them to you in January.
But we asked for them to be emailed after the meeting. The Board of Health specifically discussed, we'd like this information
Okay,
emailed.
I'll follow up.
But yeah, so
Any other questions?
I think on behalf of the board, we'd like to offer our condolences to the Lawson family. So
Thank you.
prayers are with you.
I'll always be daddy's little girl.
thanks, Lori.
Thank you.
Have a good week.
Okay, so let's go down this. Pre-cut up. Liquor licenses are now, right?
Or township
Lake
clerk.
clerk, we don't have anybody yet, correct?
I'll follow up on staff.
Do you want to?
Get that on for next week.
accept Lori's resignation? Do you want to accept Lori's resignation? It's just.
We haven't yet. I'll make a motion to accept,
Over McLennan.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved. So we didn't do that with the other one, but that was a resignation.
Yeah, how do you?
That's why I'm asking. Okay. I can see like that.
And then you guys have somebody in mind to replace John does?
yeah,
We got some, yeah, he's got one, and we got some other names too, so.
okay, I'll confirm with her first, and then if she doesn't, I'll get ahold of Chris
Just so you know, I got mine on the first try. No pressure.
with my help.
She said she just couldn't tell you no.
Really?
She's very nice.
You don't know Kevin well enough, then, does she?
Isn't that great?
Well, I was telling, staff to call you, and then I was like, well, it'd be better if she just called Lori.
I don't know, like, within their township, what all they,
Each
Right.
one's probably different.
She's got a
little
good
bit.
group, there's a good group on her township, so.
Central Iowa Juvenile Detention Center 20E Agreement 324-23 consideration.
So I'm gonna let you know, I'm missing that meeting today, and there's gonna be a closed session in that regarding the lawsuit, which I'm probably gonna miss. Well, probably missing it. Well, it might not, I might be able to catch it yet, because I've got the secure site to log on to it, so I might get into it later, but, it's still an ongoing thing there, so, I can try this week to get a a brief from the chairman of what's going on if I miss it, but other than that, I think the attorneys reviewed that, right?
Yeah.
Do I sign that? So is there a motion for the chair to sign it?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved.
See, that, if you look at the date, that's part of the reason for the lawsuit.
They weren't signed from way back when.
That's part of the lawsuit, I think, is the timeliness of the 28E agreements getting in and out. There's a requirement, like 90 days, ain't there?
I don't know, but I thought he was implying that we already had this 28E.
So what happens is that 28E agreement changes every time a new person's added. So a new county's added. So I don't
So
know.
that joins, we got to redo ours.
Or if there's a change, did you see in green? That was probably the changes that were made, so the 28E agreement, back in
This is the
2023.
only one I can find. That's, anywhere current. Found something from 2018.
Right. That's probably gonna be what's being discussed in this closed meeting, so.
So, FY 26 compensation board recommendations acknowledgement. We have to acknowledge, should we receive the compensation board's recommendations?
I'll make a motion to acknowledge that we received the recommendations back in whatever that date was.
Is there a second?
Second, then.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved. Before we get to the next stuff, do we have stuff we want next week's?
I won't be here. So if you guys want to get
I'm
the
not staring
budget
at-
done and the salaries done
I'm
while
not
I'm
staring-
gone.
You might not like that.
I'm not staring at you, I'm staring past you. Yeah.
Mm.
Is there anything else?
I'd like-
Bless you, John.
Is there anything you don't want on there?
I'd like.
Going around the table, you're next.
Oh, you know what?
10:30.
I'm thinking, you're a little late.
Next week.
A week out? Does your husband know you're killing him? What do we have on there now?
Marilyn Austin and Nick.
I prefer not to call in, but if I have to.
Who is it?
Actually,
Nick and who else?
Marilyn
Marilyn.
Austin.
Okay, so that's taken care of, and before, it sounds like now we just start the budget stuff. Before we start, we need another bathroom break or phone break or anything?
Recess?
Take a short recess. Let them get their So the stuff you sent on my desk is the latest?
Yeah.
The latest and the greatest.
So what do we need to know about this sheet?
So then I don't really know how I'm supposed to budget for next year when we don't know what projects we need to pick for this year. Because I can't just turn around and budget,
Are we talking Nick?
yeah, $4.4 million next year. Because that bond, I mean, I can't bond, or I can't budget for more than
What's
what's
fine?
there. So I'm kind of, I don't really know how to do that quite yet. And I hate to err on the side of caution and budget it for next year and reestimate this year. And then have it all be done this year, and then we have to do a budget amendment.
Budget a second way though, isn't it?
I don't know.
Oh, I was gonna mention to you too, that May said that in order to do these retention stuff, it's gonna require a budget amendment. So she said she'd talk to you about it.
Retention of what?
For
Employee?
the
Employee retention
mental health employees.
of the one person.
What's that? No, it's to retain to June. April through June, so. I don't think we really have a say.
But we're already budgeted.
Not for the retention bonus.
But that would, so that'd be an in and out though, right?
Yeah, it's in and out, yeah.
So we,
We can talk later on that, but.
okay. Randy directs where you want us to go.
Where do you want to start with this? Brady, would you just give us the rundown after John sent out the emails about what departments, which departments came lowered? I know you said conservation. You said the sheriff. And you had something to
Sheriff
bring
dropped
up.
one vehicle and then moved some money to another account. That's gonna be billed for something that he hasn't billed before, so, and it has to refer to the equipment in the cars.
Okay.
So that's gonna be revenue and expense coming out, so it ends up being, I think,
I understand, so I'm waiting.
50-some
So
thousand
Nick,
for the vehicle and another 20,000, so
we need
70,000.
how much we get ready.
Okay.
I think around.
Before I made any of the changes, to make it 18%.
And that's not up in his revenue probably,
It was.
or did he have the revenue? from-
So he took 20,000 out of the one position,
3.37.
and it's gonna have revenue coming in for it now because he moved it down to a different place where it's gonna be billed
Hold
out.
on, Brady.
Yeah.
Hold on, I want to hear that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Repeat that. What, we have to raise our levy rate,
Oh,
our
so-
supplemental.
Before I had all of the numbers entered in, because I still was receiving some yesterday. If we were to just go ahead with the budget the way it is, levy rate for general supplemental would have to go from 2.7 to 3.37 to get us to 18% ending fund.
That's kind of what I think I had the other day.
Yeah.
That's for the general supplemental.
That's what's, yeah, something about it. The general right now is okay.
Yeah, that's what I had.
Pretty tight, but it's okay.
So,
And that's with everybody's reassignments and realignments and is that what the sheriff's changing, whatever he was gonna change?
But what I'm asking basically is, he's gonna have that revenue from,
That's supposed to be company wash. Oh, okay. You're
I wouldn't count on that until I see it. come
That's,
in.
yeah, exactly. You don't want to count on revenue until you see it in your pocket. Okay. Look at you being optimistic, but.
That could be with anything that we budget for revenue too, that we might not.
Yeah, right, that's what you don't count on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like your wife going shopping, she said that you money. Yeah. that's-
The second page after the Diamond Trail one, that's our ICAP renewal. And,
Isn't that awesome?
no,
Where at, where you at, Brittany?
sorry.
This one?
The
Oh,
top.
Yeah.
When you're up at the Capitol, why don't you get them to do something about insurance?
well, that's a federal.
I know, but, geez,
We need a federal, what are you talking about?
we'll have them jump up the next steps.
Yeah,
It says for
Okay, this
this
is
year,
kicking our asses.
I know, I talked about that.
so it's 598, 189 for 24.
Yeah.
That's not what we've paid. So I don't know
What we paid?
what all is included in that. Is it,
We paid less, we paid more.
we paid less?
What have we paid? Please hold. You got it down to WC renewal, 72,000. Not this year, not this budget. I'm not sure I can keep saying.
$377,304
Really?
is for the tort liability and building and content.
Geez, that's a huge difference.
I know,
Let's not bring that up to them.
but I don't want to budget
Yeah.
almost
Shortfall.
$700,000 or $658,000
If you don't have to.
if it's gonna be,
500,
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Less.
so I'm not really sure.
So where does that 598 number come from?
That's what I don't know. I don't know what all's in there.
Do they send that out?
Yeah, this all came from.
Yeah, but are these other numbers from the previous years, are they correct? None of it's correct.
How much, about 300,000 short on every one of them, or?
Well, it can't be that, it's gonna be percentage, because it was 240.
Did you ask him? Brandy, did you
No, I
text
didn't
him?
get this until they get to the afternoon.
Well, the deal is like, do you ask and stir the pot?
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, like she said, that
If Lillis is coming up with this, I assume this is from them.
Yeah. It came from Dan Plus yesterday. I just don't know what all
He'd be safe to ask.
is
Yeah, I can ask them.
encompassed in that.
I'm texting him right now.
Like other departments that pay their own insurance, perhaps. I don't know.
Oh, a total,
Yeah.
each department's paying into that. Oh, that could be.
But are you saying,
So that would still-
we had our number though, reduced to whatever,
Our number would be different. because
Yeah.
the departments are paying.
Well,
so we're budgeting for it twice, basically, then.
Yeah,
EMA
certain
is paying
buildings.
their own.
And I don't know if that's in this
I bet it is.
or if it is not.
I bet it
Yes.
is.
I bet it is too, that would make sense.
Can we fund this out of the general or supplemental? Or can it be either one?
Yes.
Coming out of supplemental.
That's what I
That would
thought.
make a difference, wouldn't it?
So that's where I was hung up yesterday.
I want to get my hopes up there, something bad happens, I'm not gonna hope something bad happens.
Did you say that at halftime meeting last week?
That was pretty optimistic then. No, I was too optimistic then. Then I had to busy to the 3/4 court press, so.
How many games you have left?
7, I believe.
Maybe go let me make sure I heckle you at some game, I don't care.
So if we did
Sit
the,
behind you.
Got 2 at home next week, so that'd be the.
if we did the 10% on what we paid this year, it'd be 415,000. 034. Which is $243,000 difference. So back to when we were figuring out what we have to do to get the levy rate up to cover the expenses right now, where did that go? Oh my gosh.
2.7 to 3.37, Duncan.
Yeah, so 0.6.
How does that compare to previous years?
Oh.
So just the increase in property taxes to cover that, not what we're increasing by having the larger valuation, is times 1,146,000, $768,000, which is a lot.
To bring that up to 3.37?
Yeah, it's a $768,000 property tax increase. Plus, Ray, are these valuations down here, these are from the year before, right? So on the Department of Management's website and look it up, but are these 24, 25 valuations?
These are current.
That's last?
Yeah, because that's 25.
Okay, oh, that makes more sense, because I was wondering how, okay, so it's more than that, you guys, sorry. $772,000. So just the natural increase is,
What the valuations mean.
messy.
There's a property tax and a tax on the trees.
Yeah. So it has to include more than.
You must include all the other, the counties as a whole. Maybe vehicle insurance and everything. So I'm wondering if it's the whole package.
Any questions?
You can hear about to go there. The chef. Yeah. Okay, so
More baby pictures.
actual. This is what's we're shooting for. Oh, that's the total requirements.
Yeah.
How much you really have? Why? Because
The total requirement, the total.
how do you right?
Yeah.
Is that because of the bond? Correct. If that's the case, we're asking for less money. Like, what the?
Well, we are asking for less money because our valuation growth is too high, so.
We're truly asking for less money.
We don't have folks down.
Well, same way with, the $3 million.
Apple's still kind of a mess, so. It's not good.
No, what I'm saying though, see, there's like $3 million difference. If we raise these levies, we're not really raising, are we raising the tax overall because we're asking for the same? How?
Because you're raising
No, we're not for matching where we've been. That's what I mean.
Well, that still has to increase to make that.
I understand, but we're 3 million short, and we don't have to raise it 3 million to get what we need to meet this.
You need to raise it 770,000.
I'm not following what you're asking.
Okay, so here's 14. Now we're at 11.
Yep.
We're asking for less. Okay. Here's 4, and we're asking for 4. Right? So what happened to that? What happened to that 3? These are close to the same. That's different. That's different. Where did it go?
What,
So this is what we've asked in the past, 14.
on total resources, yes.
And this, now we're down to 11. We went down.
Total resources is accounting for beginning fund balance. We are taking our ending fund balance down from 30 to 18.9.
Fine.
So total requirements isn't telling you, you gotta look at the property taxes and what it's showing there. So property tax is 3.9 and it was,
3.9.
yeah, it went up by 50,000.
Okay, that's pretty minimal.
Yeah, I just calculated, it was 140, the natural increase is 150,000-ish, it's 100 and some thousand.
When we get, my point is, when we get all said and done, are we truly playing with numbers? Are we actually raising taxes overall for the county? How much?
We are raising taxes because this number is gonna change, because we're gonna add 700,000 to that to make this to 18%.
Right, the rate, and that'll raise this up.
But that's gonna come out of property taxes. So that's gonna become 3.9.
I was just going off of these numbers, and these
Total
don't make
the
sense.
total requirements is taking into account ending fund balances, transfers, all, I wouldn't worry about that. I'd worry about the property.
Everything.
Yeah.
Over, everything as a whole. Every piece of the puzzle. Make sense?
Kind
And
of,
the
I
only-
understand why I look confused.
Yeah, I would never look at that. That doesn't make sense. That's only for bonding capacity information. I don't think that actually is anything that we would
I thought
use.
that's what we need to operate the county.
The ending fund balance right here, this is the number you look at. And then this is the expenditures, but we're gonna add, to get this up, we gotta add 700,000 to that, which is gonna add 700,000 there.
Which is, I don't know how we have a choice.
Let's see, well, I mean, even taking out raises, you're not gonna, that's just gonna affect here. That's not gonna affect primarily.
Primarily, yeah.
Unless we take out raises and then put some of Josh's back into general, that's the only option to.
Fixed
Like I said, I have all of that
fixed insurance.
coming out of.
Fixed insurance will help, that'll save maybe
Between 300,000.
243. So it takes that bump up to like 500,000. So the natural property tax increase just from having even though the reduced levy rates on the new valuation was 137,000. And then if we add in this, if we don't fix the insurance, then we're looking at 700 and some thousand. So you're looking at almost $1 million in property tax increase, which is over 10%.
That'll make for me.
Well, we've gone through all the budgets, and I don't know how many things you think you're gonna cut. I mean, we're not even offering raises.
Well, there's 2.5 in here in this.
2.5 for who? Everybody?
Besides the unions. Yeah,
So,
How much did that say? How much
Randy,
did that-
Randy to get 2.5.
what? Yeah,
Okay.
so
So did Dan respond to you yet?
he said, yes, he's available.
Excuse me, Colin?
Yeah, he's gonna call me.
And then this Pioneer Cemetery. So even if I leave it the way it is budgeted now, which is exactly how it was budgeted this current year that we're in, that levy rate will have to be raised.
For taking on more cemeteries?
Well, no, just to be able to maintain what they have, mowing and,
How much more do you have to go
Currently negative 73, so. Ending funding supposed to
The cemetery. They don't have employees. Was it normal, only a couple thousand, maybe more?
right now they have
9.
9%.
But I mean, as we've had discussions about like the back blue raise, are we good with the 4? Are we, I mean, that's what them getting 4. I know there's been concern amongst some board members about not giving them more.
Well, you said we can't,
That's what Tim said.
okay, yeah, I'm agreeing with you, can't spit it out. This year, I don't think you want to do that, I don't think you want to give one, because we don't have the money, it's not like we're flush.
Yeah, we're never gonna have the money, that's just the bad thing. I understand we don't have it, we're never gonna have it.
Well, to answer your question, the levy rate for Pioneer Cemetery would go from 0.01 to 0.01178.
178.
But I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, I guess, you know?
Right.
I don't think we have the money for it unless
No.
we do something drastic. I just don't think we're gonna have the money.
I know we don't have the money, but
Well, I don't think we want to do anything drastic. Unless we have to.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to get to the number, but if
Yeah.
the money's not there, then money's not there.
This time you could only do that, so we have a year where cost of living is like 0, and we'll get that. Because then we don't have to affect everybody else.
But I just want to make sure because I know we've talked about that, you know, ideally we didn't want to give the 4.
That's what they said we can do, that's really.
She's gonna call me a couple minutes.
Yeah, but that's, I don't know, I know you don't like to do that, but I think we just have to raise the levy, move them up. Move the money, leave the 18%, why we have to raise the levy and get the insurance number corrected.
If it's to the difference of $700 and some $1,000, I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna be a fundamental no on that.
It's fine, but we've spent how much time looking for the money, what are you gonna do?
Well, we can cut out raises and then move some of Josh back into the general. I'm not raising property taxes by over 10%. So I'm just saying for just so you know, we have to have 4/5 on that maximum levy to go through, so you have 1 out.
That's just my proposal.
you're saying leave everything at the 2.5
Yeah.
and raise the property tax up over 10%.
If we can't get some of this insurance.
Right.
Taken out.
Right.
How much is that potentially, what do you think? How much?
250,000.
250,000. So it would be more like 500.
And then Fund 11 is at 66 or 16.56%. And this fund.
That's fine.
Do we need to go on break? Are we taking that?
Nope, it's Dan.
No, I didn't know if you want to talk about
Hi,
that.
Dan.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, how are you? You're on the speaker with the whole board here and on our Zoom or our YouTube, just to let you know.
No worries.
We have a question about the ICAP renewal premium that your office sends over, and it's showing like $658,000 total.
Yeah.
But so we, like, for example, this year it said 598, but we paid 377, like, as far as all the departments that we pay for, but I know like EMA is separated off, and I think there might be a couple others that are separated off that pay individually. Is that figure, is that for every department? And could you give us the number for just our portion?
Is that vehicles too?
For the board's portion,
Yes.
I can, it'll take me a little bit of time, but I can do that because what we've done in the past, there's like engineering will pay for a portion of their physical damage for, their vehicles. So there's a formula how it's broken down, and I can get that and then ballpark the renewal off of that. The most difficult thing is because it's a 7/1 renewal and everybody does their budgets now, we're looking at a total for the county cost versus a kind of a department, but I can try to get it as close as I can, breaking it down by board and by the different departments and what they pay, and shoot that over to you if you'd like.
Yes, that'd be great. And I mean, even if just for our estimation's sake right now, if we paid $377 last year out of the board's budget, should we just add 10% to that and just for just an opener? Yeah, because right now we have the full amount in there and we've been kind of double budgeting for it. But I didn't know if we should just put in like 10% for our portion.
Yeah, I would, because overall, and I know we had this discussion with engineering department because they pay more of their portion than others, and they had a larger their budget went up more because of what they pay. But I would say for the board, what you guys are responsible for, I think 10% is pretty good. It's pretty good.
Okay, yeah, if you want to get that to us sometime, that would be great. And then for now, we'll just use a 10% placeholder on there.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, you bet. You guys have a great weekend. Thanks.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Give me 5 seconds here. And I'll
So we have been double budgeting that over the years, huh?
Probably, yeah. But how would we know?
Right.
So then we would only have to budget 415,000.
Yeah, that's the 10%, 415,000.
Yeah, that's what I have. So we're gonna take out $243,000 out of expenditures. So this now becomes 4,237,320 times 18% is 762,717. 60 in there.
So these budget detail by fund that I included for revenue and expense. So these are what I go through and I look at the working budget amount, the current year and the previous year, just to see if there's anything that's way out of whack and why are we budgeting?
So big discrepancy.
Yeah, or, why are we budgeting more? Why are we budgeting less? Is there something missing? Is there something entered incorrectly? I heard back from most departments that everything looked good, so there are a couple still that I'm waiting to hear back, but I just figured with all of the changes that have been made, I wanted their eyes to be looking at their budgets to make sure that everything is keyed in correctly. So that's something that everybody can go through and see if there's something that catches your eye and why is it
Different.
Yeah, why is it such a change from previous years, whether it be up or down? And I did that for revenues as well.
Did we figure out what, is there any way we can find out about the Kinsey numbers if we're really $100,000?
Yeah, I'm not gone down that rabbit hole this week, but
Nobody got back to you?
well, the lady confirmed on Friday that they have, she said they have 500. So I don't know how else to go.
Oh, she did confirm that.
Yeah, I thought I said that, maybe I didn't. $950,000. Well, give me a minute, I'll get you guys property tax increase then. Plus. $950,572.60 plus $312. Three, 2, 6. 12 divided by 2. Randy, I'm getting a bigger number now on what we have to bring supplemental up to. From what we did on Friday, or whatever day we chatted. But things did change though. All the numbers changed, so I'm getting.
What did I talk to you?
It was Tuesday?
I don't think I had the sheriffs, I didn't have, don't think I had conservation. I did not have health departments. And I did not get anything different from the engineer's office.
Okay, yeah, so it's more, even with shaving off the,
I need to look at that one just to see what kind of increase he has on his.
Who in there?
Yeah.
I think it's the same as last year, wasn't
I need to look at the worksheets. I sent those to everybody in email. I did not send them to everybody. 600 pieces of paper.
so it would be looking at like, that's over, well, I hate to even say this one. 12 minus 3084, 551. Sit back. $1,048,000 increase.
Couldn't they go up so much for the first time? It was 700.
Because insurance wasn't in there the first time at all. And then we had everybody put in the 2.5 raises, and then there's something else. Not everybody had everything in, right? And that's to take us to an 18% ending fund balance, which would take us to 950,000 instead of 920,000 like we are this year. So the property taxes then become 4.1 million instead of 3.084, as you can see for this year. Because you got to add in the 760,000 plus the negative to get it to, or you want it to 762. So to get there, you have to add in $950,000 of property taxes. So then if you add $384,531 plus 951. Let me just try one more way. Just to check.
Do we have to be at 18% in fund balance?
On that one, I would, because that's all your insurances that come out right away.
What's that?
all the insurances that are due right at the beginning of the fiscal year are such a large amount. I would hate to, I mean, we've still gotta be able to make payroll, we've still gotta be able to pay bills, we've still gotta be able to.
Like the re-estimated amount for 24, 25. We didn't plan for a 25% fund balance. That's what's in there right now. So that's not projected the end of the,
Yeah, so it's roughly $1 million increase, and we'd have to raise it to $3.49 per thousand, as it is right now.
What was it last year?
You're 287.
287 last year?
Wait,
No, that's rural. 2.7.
27, yeah,
2.7.
2.7,
You say you have to raise it to what now?
349. So that's $950,000 there, plus the natural increase of 136,000, puts you at 1.1 million-ish in property tax increase, which would be, we were like, what, 9.9 last year, so an 11%.
So these numbers are accurate. These aren't accurate then?
They were the most current last night.
Well, I'm just saying that she's got different ones.
Those were from the other day.
Well, these numbers are accurate if you're okay with having a negative 187,000 in the supplemental. So to fix that, we have to raise property taxes. Because we gotta get that up to like 760-ish thousand.
Which I thought, yeah. The insurance will get us to zero.
What'd you say?
Insurance, if that's correct, that'll get us close to zero.
What do you mean?
We're negative 187, the insurance that we're off is 200 and what?
200, so that's, the numbers that I just said is with taking off 243,000 on the insurance end. I took it out of the expenditure, so that takes that down. And then did the numbers.
Why can you just
And
change?
the number that I had in there for the building and contents is correct. Because we had originally budgeted 137,370, but we've spent 161,651. So I took that higher number times the 10% to get like an estimate before I heard from Lois.
So I shouldn't even take out the number, the price difference?
I changed the tort from 294 to 237, 219. So not colossal.
So it could, yeah, if you, so then if you take that out, I took out the $243,000 difference to get those numbers. You're talking more yet then.
because you didn't put the 658 in there. You didn't put the 658 in there for the
No.
insurance.
Yeah. So. I mean, this is just where I'm just trying to give you guys a picture of, and like, we gotta start deciding, are you guys willing to raise taxes by that amount? I'm complete no. But I respect everybody else's opinion and what they wanna do, but.
What's it look like if we had a zero raise?
Well, I just kind of really rough, because things did change, people cut some things out, but from last week to this week, after moving Josh over,
Leaving sheriff at 4.
it would have been rough off the top of my head, about that $200,000 mark.
So it'd still be at probably 8% increase in property taxes, is that right?
So if you take 200,000 out of supplemental, out of Josh's, put it back into the general, you're talking about a 750,000 plus the natural of 136. So an $886,000 increase, which would be an 8.9.
What is this natural you keep talking about?
The levy rates on the increase in valuation, like the automatic property tax increase.
So that shouldn't it? This takes me a minute.
It's the levy rates that we have on our new valuation, which increased this year. How much more in property taxes does that generate? That's generating 137 right there. And more property tax revenue, which is in these worksheets. That's where you see, that's where we're just talking about the property, so.
796, 230.
Yep, 796, 237. Plus the 131,074. So we need to come up with 927,000.
How'd you get that one? Sorry.
Adding in the negative part to get, because we wanted to that, but we added in the negative part.
The valuation increase is already in this worksheet.
That's in the property. See how the property taxes increased from last year in the general, rural, and supplemental. That's just your valuation rate. And this value, the natural property tax increase I keep citing is just for the general and the rural, because supplemental we're raising anyways. We're not on a set thing.
Okay.
So if I raise property taxes by this 19.7.
What number are you getting?
3.54387.
Did you take? What did you get? 4 point what? 3.54?
I had 3.37 the other day.
Yeah, that's before we had all these new ones. That was when I was going off of this one.
That would be the new levy rate? To get it to what?
18%. I know I kind of talked about this before, but I just can't see doing it. We've had 300 layoffs.
What?
We've had 300 layoffs in
Right.
Owen County and businesses shutting down. Like I just, it's not even just the residential taxpayers. It is, farmers have had one of the worst years financially. I just can't, I don't think I can justify that.
But how much? What number you're thinking?
I'd like to get 6 or under.
I don't know how we're gonna do it.
to raise how much more revenue, 700,000?
900 and some thousand.
927, is that the number?
Over that's what's on these sheets.
Yeah. We're definitely, either way, we're breaking the $10 million. We've stayed underneath there for how long, but
$10 million what?
what do you say?
$10 million what?
In total property tax revenue. Yeah, we're looking at over 10.6 total. What last year I had.
John, you're awful quiet over there. Any ideas?
No, just, I'm like you, I'd like to see them get a raise, but
Like Kevin says, next year's gonna be, we're gonna be in the same boat again next year. No matter what.
Yeah, we just wouldn't be quite as far behind. You know,
Yeah, I understand, but then the following years can be just as bad too. Until we start getting more money from somewhere.
Well, if you free up, and I know nobody wants to hear this, but, and like, we free up 8, 9 employees. I mean, that's a huge amount of expense that's now gone, that now when we have a 2.5% increase, or whatever we give, it's just that much less. It's that much less in insurance, that much less all across the board. I don't care if you pick one department and 9 employees or 10 employees, or you go through and lop off one in every department. Or we tell every department needs to cut your budget by 10%, or we just tell them, you get this amount. Or we cut out of what we give to secondary roads, which none of us probably want to do that. And even that, I don't think we'll fix it because that's out of the rural, and that's not gonna, you'd have to do something out of general.
I'd hate to cut employees and then give a raise too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my personal, I mean.
Yeah, that's counterintuitive to me.
To me it is, but.
But on the other hand, it's also counterintuitive to keep saying we can't give raises and, or whatever else if we shouldn't take too long. Are you guys okay with that? Taking care of that Friday? Okay. I'm good with whatever.
At 15, do you think that one's gonna take more than 15 minutes?
I told her 15. But could you set the public hearing before the board meeting?
Very good. Fit for 8:45 or something?
Yeah.
that's not a bad idea.
Right, and if we
We go,
get
John.
into something, we don't have to end it, you know.
Mm-hmm. I think that would be good.
I think so, it'd be the easiest.
So you're talking about this Friday, next Friday you would have a meeting at 8:45 to set the public hearing, and then we'll do the public hearing on the 21st at 10 or noon or whatever you guys decide.
Right.
I mean, whatever, so.
We want to do it at a time that's more accessible for people.
Nobody shows up for this.
2 seconds to set the date.
Yeah,
That's what you said last year.
we're just
No,
saying, no, we're just setting a date.
He's talking for the hearing though.
No, I mean for the hearing.
Probably should be.
No, I think that should be during the day, like
Yeah,
when people are.
On March 20th,
On the 21st.
so that would be, oh, that's what I'm looking at, February.
I don't care what
That's gonna
time you
be,
do it.
that's gonna be on a Friday.
I was just figuring numbers from my publication deadlines.
But he's talking about doing it at a time that, or like time or day, like a different one separate from our board meeting, because if you can't come to our board meeting and talk, then you probably won't be able to come to that, you know what I mean?
Because what was last year's? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock?
Yeah, because I was at the store and
I think
I
it was 2 o'clock.
tried to drive down here.
For the cat one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought that was in the morning.
no, I was coming from the
It was in
store.
the afternoon. Because I did it, one person.
I think it may be 1 o'clock. That sound right? 1 o'clock?
I think it was.
It was definitely after lunch.
So I think I went to Lizzie's for lunch that day.
I tried to come down here and I defeated my vehicle.
You were scared.
Yeah, I know, I was,
That's what the deal was.
I wish.
Schooling would be going on, obviously.
I'm okay with doing it maybe that following Monday or Tuesday at 1 or something, just to make it look like we've made, at least make an effort to do something different than our board meeting days.
So what day,
Last year, I feel like it was on a Wednesday or Thursday.
so what day are we proposing? What day?
How do you guys feel about that Monday after at 1?
24th?
We just don't want to drag it out too far because
Right.
we
24th
can't
of
set the public
February?
hearing for the budget until after that public hearing has been done.
Can't do it on Tuesday because we have other meetings. County safety action.
What if you do it 20th?
You're gonna send me dates on all these dates so I can get them meetings.
Thursday.
I just thought 21st would be my location. Whatever you want to do.
So that'd be like the 24th at 1, right? Potentially. Or we can do the 21st and just do it in the afternoon at 1, and then if we have time to kill in between, we can.
21st at 3, or don't you want to leave and come back?
Probably I don't want to come back.
I don't care either way. You guys tell, I don't care.
I can't guarantee.
You guys said it.
First, because hopefully, we're talking February, right?
Right.
I could still be playing basketball by 21st.
Oh, no, we're talking March.
Oh, March. Oh, I'm good in March. What we done with that?
I thought you had to do 55. Something happens, yeah.
Okay, make it 8:45.
8:45?
We'll do it, and then we can conversate again until we start our meetings.
Okay, so I need to make a meeting for the 8:45 one, correct?
Yes.
31st.
And if you want to send me the February one.
Randy's starting to ask a little much of me now.
What's in February?
I gotta send her the YouTube links. And we'll be adding things to them.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say